I know what you're thinking. Surely I'm not part of the 95% who can't. But let me ask you something. When's the last time you got up from a low chair without using your hands, or stood on one leg while brushing your teeth? These little things, so small we barely think of them, are quietly predicting our independence, our longevity, and yes, even how long we'll stay out of the hospital. And the truth is, most of us don't even realize we've lost these abilities until something goes wrong, a fall, a pulled muscle, an oops moment, reaching for the shampoo in the shower. Now, before you start doubting yourself, let me say this. It's not about being perfect, and it's not about becoming some senior athlete. Heaven knows I've had my fair share of creaky mornings and surprise groans just getting off the couch. But this is about staying in control of your own life. I'm 78 now, and while my knees sometimes sound like Rice Krispies when I stand up, I've learned that if you take small actions now, the results can be incredible. You can reverse decline, improve your balance, boost your energy, and yes, possibly add years of quality life, not just time on the calendar. You see, this all started for me after my old friend Harold, who was always the strong one, the guy who chopped his own firewood and never missed his morning walk, took a spill last winter, just walking to his mailbox. He told me later, I didn't trip. My legs just didn't catch me. That chilled me to my core. I realized how easy it is for our bodies to slowly, silently let go of things we take for granted. So I began researching, really digging into what separates the 5% of seniors who are thriving well into their 80s and beyond from the rest of us just getting by. And do you know what I found? It's not genetics, it's not luck, it's not even money. It's a set of simple physical capabilities, movements, and functions that act like early warning signs, telling us whether our body is aging well, or giving us a polite nudge to change course before it's too late. These aren't extreme feats either. You won't hear me say you need to run a marathon or do cartwheels at the senior center. But they are deceptively powerful. If you can do them, great. Your body's got your back. If not, well, we'll talk about how to rebuild them gently and safely. Because here's the kicker. The sooner you notice these little slips, the easier it is to regain strength and stay independent. So today we're going to look at 5 key things that only 5% of seniors can still do after age 70. They sound simple, but each one ties directly into your ability to avoid falls, stay out of nursing homes, and maintain the freedom to live on your terms. And before we even dive into the first one, I want you to understand why this matters so much. Because it's not just about muscles, it's about confidence. It's about being able to say yes to life, to grandkids, to travel, to taking the stairs at the museum without worrying about how you'll get back down, to waking up in the morning and feeling like your body didn't quit on you while you were sleeping. The first sign? It's all about something we all do every single day, sitting and standing. But not just any sitting. I'm talking about being able to rise from a low, soft couch or a kitchen chair without using your hands. It sounds easy, right? Try it now. Pause me if you like. Cross your arms and try standing up from a seated position. Did you sway? Did you rock back and forth? Did your knees scream at you? Or did you instinctively plant your hands on the arms of the chair before? Pushing up? That's your body whispering, hey, we need to work on this. This ability reflects leg strength, core stability, and even neurological coordination. And when we lose it, we're more likely to fall, struggle with balance, and avoid daily activities that we used to enjoy. I still remember the day I realized I couldn't stand up from my garden bench without gripping the side. It wasn't dramatic, just a slow creeping in of weakness. But once I started doing a few simple exercises, no gym, no gadgets, I felt stronger within weeks. And more importantly, I felt confident, like I had turned the tide. So now, whenever I visit friends or family, I sneak a peek. I watch how people rise from a chair, how they move through their space. Because the ability to rise unassisted is one of the strongest predictors of longevity we have. In fact, researchers from Brazil did a study showing that seniors who could sit and stand from the floor without support were 5 times more likely to live longer than those who couldn't. 5 times. Now, I'm not saying you need to be sitting on the floor with the grandkids every day, but wouldn't it be nice to know you could if you wanted to? Let's keep going, because the next sign is just as sneaky and just as powerful. And chances are you've never thought of it as a test at all. It's something so ordinary, so wrapped into our daily routine, that we barely notice it, until we can't do it anymore. I'm talking about balance, not the tightrope walking kind, but the kind you use when putting on pants without sitting down, or reaching up to grab the oatmeal off the top shelf without wobbling. And the simplest test? Standing on one leg. Try it right now wherever you are. Stand tall, lift one foot a few inches off the ground, and see how long you last. Most folks over 70 can't go more than 10 seconds. 10 seconds. But here's what's wild. In a major Japanese study, they found that seniors who couldn't balance on one leg for more than that had a significantly higher risk of cognitive decline and stroke. Balance isn't just about your legs. It's your inner ear, your brain, your coordination, even your vision. They all work together like an orchestra, and when one section falls out of tune, the whole symphony suffers. I used to think it was just normal aging. Oh well, I'm just a little more wobbly these days, until I caught myself avoiding uneven sidewalks and making excuses to skip my morning walks. Then I remembered how my father, God rest his soul, refused to give up his independence, even when his legs betrayed him. He had this old wooden cane carved with eagle feathers that he used more like a prop than a support. He refused to lean on it unless absolutely necessary. And what I admire most was that he never stopped practicing. Even into his 80s, he'd stand in the kitchen brushing his teeth on one leg, determined to keep his balance sharp. I thought it was a little silly at the time, but now I realize he was right. Practicing balance is one of the easiest and most effective ways to train your brain and body to stay young. So here's a little challenge I give myself every day. While waiting for the kettle to boil, I lift one foot off the ground and count to 20. If I can't hold it steady, I lower and try again. No shame, no pressure, just persistence. And slowly, my body learned to cooperate again. What matters is that you're tuning in, paying attention to the subtle changes before they become setbacks. And let me tell you, there's nothing like the quiet pride of knowing you still have the control and strength to keep your balance, even when life throws a curveball. Now, I want to take a moment here to acknowledge something very important. Everyone's body is different. Some of us have arthritis, joint replacements, vertigo, or other conditions that make certain movements harder. But that doesn't mean you're out of the game. It means we adapt. We work with what we've got. And in some cases, what we gain in wisdom and patience outweighs what we lose in agility. I once met a woman named Teresa at my local community center, 83 years old with 2 hip replacements, and she could balance better than folks 20 years younger, all because she practiced Tai Chi in her backyard every morning. She said, "I may not be fast, but I'm steady," and that stuck with me. Steady is powerful. Steady keeps us upright. Steady means you're still going on your own 2 feet. So if you've tried the balance test and found yourself teetering, don't panic. That's your starting point. You can only improve from here. Now that we've touched on strength and balance, let's move to something a bit sneakier, a skill that quietly vanishes over the years without us even noticing. Flexibility. Not the touch-your-toes kind we were graded on in high school, gym class, but the everyday flexibility that lets us twist in the car seat to check our blind spot, reach back to hook our bra, or turn to grab a dropped napkin at dinner without wrenching our back. And when we lose it, we start compensating. We stop turning our heads fully. We use our arms in awkward ways. We become stiff, rigid, hesitant. I caught myself doing it in the car one day, relying only on my mirrors because turning around felt like too much effort. That was a wake-up call. Because you see, this kind of flexibility isn't just about comfort, it's about freedom. It's about being able to move through the world with confidence and without fear of injury. I started doing a gentle morning stretch routine, not yoga, nothing fancy, just basic movements like shoulder rolls, side bends, and a seated twist. Or two, and I could feel my spine thanking me. It wasn't dramatic at first, but over a few weeks, I found myself moving more naturally. I could reach up in the kitchen again, tie my shoes without groaning, and I even got back to gardening, without having to plan a 10-minute recovery afterward. I want you to imagine this. What would your life feel like if your body didn't resist you so much anymore? If turning, reaching, bending didn't come with a soundtrack of cracks and pops? That's the promise of flexibility. And even if you feel like a rusty old hinge right now, remember? WD-40 doesn't work in a day. It takes regular attention, daily kindness to your joints. And above all, patience. We've covered a lot already: strength, balance, flexibility, and believe me, we're only halfway through. But if you're still here with me, I want to give you something, a little moment of encouragement. You're not just watching this video, you're choosing to show up for yourself. You're choosing to take control, to say, my best days are not behind me, and that decision, my friend, puts you in a very rare group. So let me ask you, if even a small part of this has inspired you or made you think, imagine how much more we're going to unpack in the next section. I'll be sharing a tip next that's so often overlooked, yet has more impact on longevity than most medications. If you found this valuable so far, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's free, and it means you'll never miss this kind of empowering, no-nonsense content made just for us, not some 20-something influencer doing backflips. And leave a like, too. It helps others in our age group discover this community, this place where we grow stronger together. Now take a deep breath, roll those shoulders, and stick with me, because the next sign is one most people miss completely, and it just might surprise you. It surprised me too, to be honest, because it doesn't involve lifting your leg or touching your toes. It has to do with something that seems so simple, so automatic, that we hardly ever give it a second thought until it starts to slip away. I'm talking about grip strength, just the strength in your hands, fingers, and forearms. That firm handshake, the ability to twist open a stubborn jar lid or carry a bag of groceries without needing both hands. Researchers have found again and again that grip strength is a powerful predictor of overall health, especially in older adults. In fact, in one large-scale study from the UK, grip strength turned out to be a more accurate indicator of mortality risk than blood pressure. Can you believe that? Something as simple as how tightly you can squeeze is telling us more about our long-term health than our heart rate. And here's the kicker, our grip doesn't fade overnight. It's sneaky. You don't even notice it at first. You just start avoiding certain lids, choosing lighter utensils, or needing help carrying things that used to feel easy. For me, it was a struggle to open the peanut butter jar one morning. Yes, the same brand I'd been buying for years. I had to grab one of those rubber grippers, and even then, it took 2 tries. I sat there, spoon in hand, and thought, when did this get hard? But it wasn't about the peanut butter. It was about realizing that something had changed. That my hands weren't as strong as they used to be, and if my hands were getting weaker, what else might be on the decline? So, I did some digging. Turns out, our grip is tied to muscle mass, nerve function, even cardiovascular health. When it goes, it's not just about losing hand strength, it's a signal that the rest of the body might be following. But here's the good news. It's also one of the easiest things to rebuild. I started with something simple, a soft rubber ball I kept next to my chair. I'd squeeze it while watching the evening news. Then I added light dumbbell exercises like wrist curls and fingertip lifts. And you know what? Within a couple weeks, I was twisting off jar lids like a champ again. Better yet, I felt stronger everywhere. And the confidence that comes with that, knowing your body is still capable, still dependable, that's priceless. A strong grip also keeps you safer. Think about it. Holding onto a railing, gripping the edge of a counter when you feel off. Balance, catching yourself during a stumble, all of that depends on your hands doing their job. So if you've noticed any slipping, literally or figuratively, it's time to pay attention. And if you're already doing well, let's keep it that way. Every bit of strength matters. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you even more than grip strength, and that's respiratory endurance. Your ability to breathe deeply, consistently, and without feeling winded doing everyday tasks. Most people don't realize this, but as we age, our lung capacity naturally decreases. Not dramatically all at once, but slowly, like a faucet turned down over years. You notice it when climbing stairs, when trying to sing along with your favorite song, or when you feel that tiny puff of fatigue from walking across the parking lot. And for many seniors, it's written off as just getting old. But here's what most folks don't know. Lung function isn't set in stone. Just like your muscles, your lungs can be trained, strengthened, and supported with the right habits. Back in my 60s, I joined a community choir. And let me tell you, I was shocked by how quickly I got winded, holding long notes. Our conductor, a sprightly woman named Beatrice in her early 70s, taught us simple breathing exercises to strengthen our diaphragms, and after just a few weeks, I could sing longer, talk longer, and even walk farther without needing to pause. I carried those breathing techniques into my daily routine, deep, slow breaths from the belly, holding for a count of 4. Gentle exhales like blowing out a candle. It helped me not just in singing, but in everyday energy and calm. Plus, it reduced my stress, something that, believe me, wreaks havoc on our hearts, our joints, and our minds. One bonus trick? I started humming in the shower. Sounds silly, I know, but humming vibrates the vagus nerve, which helps regulate our nervous system, and has been shown to improve overall well-being. So next time you're rinsing off, let out a little tune. You might be doing your lungs a favor. The key takeaway here is this. If you find yourself avoiding stairs, needing to pause mid-conversation, or getting winded quicker than you used to, it's not just about aging. It's a gentle call from your body to pay attention. And with simple breath work, light cardio like walking or swimming, and staying vocal, even reading aloud if you don't sing, you can actually reverse that decline. So now we've covered strength, balance, flexibility, grip, and lung health. The core 5 things that only about 5% of seniors over 70 can still do with ease. But don't let that statistic scare you. Let it motivate you. Because if you're even trying to work on these things, you're already in rare company. And more importantly, you're proving to yourself and to those who care about you that you're not done growing, not done thriving. We still have one last piece to this puzzle to discuss, and it may be the most important of all. Because what ties everything together isn't just what your body can do. It's what your mindset allows. In our final section, we're going to explore how these physical skills connect with our mental resilience, our daily habits, and how to create a simple but powerful plan to stay in the 5% for years to come. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. This next part is where everything comes full circle. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, well, I'm too old for that now? Maybe it was about learning something new, going on a trip, or even just trying out a fresh hobby. I used to do it all the time, especially in my late 60s. I remember once turning down an invitation to join a painting class at the rec center. My first thought was, that's for folks who've been painting all their lives. But the real reason, deep down, I didn't think I could keep up. I assumed the skills just weren't there anymore. But you know what I've learned over the years? That mindset, the belief that we're too old to grow, change, or improve, is far more dangerous than any sore knee, stiff hip, or aching back. That mindset is what keeps most people out of the top 5%. You see, every single ability we've talked about, strength, balance, flexibility, grip, breath, it all ties back to one thing: the willingness to believe that change is still possible. Because no matter how many times I've watched the news or read the headlines telling us we're aging out, I've met too many incredible people who prove the opposite every single day. I've seen an 89-year-old woman doing water aerobics like she was training for the Olympics. I've met an 84-year-old man who took up Spanish during the pandemic and now volunteers at a local bilingual library. These folks didn't get there because they had better knees or lungs or genetics. They got there because they kept showing up. And more importantly, because they didn't let age become a wall between them and a better life. That's what this all comes down to, really. This isn't about passing some kind of test or checking boxes. This is about living with intention, about asking yourself every morning, what can I do today that keeps me moving, thinking, laughing, and growing? It might be a 5-minute walk to the mailbox and back. It might be squeezing a ball during a TV show. It might just be standing up and sitting down from your chair 5 times without using your hands. But each of those little actions becomes a quiet rebellion against decline, and together they stack up into something extraordinary. Now, I promised you a simple framework to remember everything we've talked about, so here it is, SBFGB. Doesn't roll off the tongue like Sinatra, I know, but stick with me. S for strength. Can you stand up from a chair without using your hands? B for balance. Can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds? F for flexibility. Can you turn your head fully and reach behind your back? G for grip. Can you open a jar or carry a grocery bag confidently? And B for breath. Can you climb a flight of stairs or hold a conversation without gasping? Think of it like a quick daily mental checklist. Some days, one might feel a little off, but the others will help carry you through. Because when you're strong, steady, limber, capable, and breathing deep, you're not just alive, you're living. And when you share that mindset with others, when you encourage your peers, your children, even your grandchildren, to see you taking ownership of your health, it becomes contagious. You become a living example of what's possible. And that's one of the greatest gifts we can offer this world in our later years. So here's my final challenge to you, my friend. Choose one area, just one, that you feel you've let slip. A little, and give it 5 minutes of your attention today. Start small. Gentle stretches before bed. A walk down the block. Practicing standing up from the couch without your arms. Whatever it is, take that step. And if you found value in this conversation, if any part of you feels more hopeful, more empowered, or even just more seen, then I want to personally invite you to join this growing community of seniors who are rewriting what aging looks like. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another moment of encouragement, advice, or inspiration tailored specifically for you. Give the video a like if it helped you reflect, and more importantly, drop a comment below and tell me which of the 5 areas you're going to work on first. I read every single one, and I love hearing your stories, your victories, and even your struggles. We're in this together. And don't forget, next week's video is going to dive into one of the most overlooked habits that can reverse age-related fatigue and brain fog, something doctors often overlook. So, be sure to stay tuned for that. Until then, be kind to your body, gentle with your mind, and proud of how far you've come. You are not done. You are not too old. You are powerful, capable, and still growing. From my heart to yours, thank you for being here. Keep standing strong. That final note may feel like the end, but in truth, it's just the beginning. Because once you start viewing aging as a chapter of possibility rather than limitation, everything changes. You start seeing those aches and creaks not as stop signs, but as signals, just your body's way of saying, let's work together. And believe me, when you respond to those signals with care instead of fear, you unlock a kind of strength you didn't know was still in you. I've seen it again and again, not just in myself, but in neighbors, old friends, folks I've met at the community center, or at those lively silver sneakers classes where we laugh more than we lift. Take my friend Salvatore, for example. Grew up in New Jersey, retired plumber, tough as nails, but hadn't stretched a day in his life. He used to joke that if he bent down to tie his shoes, someone better be there to pull him back up. At 78, he started noticing he couldn't turn his head when backing out of the driveway. Scared the daylights out of him. But instead of selling the car, he started coming to a little stretch and movement group I help lead at the local church hall. At first, he grumbled through the entire thing, calling the neck rolls hokey. But I'll never forget the day he backed his car out, turned his head fully, and just sat there in the driveway grinning like a teenager with his first set of keys. That's what we're doing here. Not chasing some unrealistic version of youth, but reclaiming the independence and confidence that aging tries to sneak away from us. And don't think you've got to do it all at once. The folks who succeed aren't the ones who overhaul their entire lifestyle in a day. They're the ones who consistently show up for themselves. Little things, done often, make the biggest difference. Maybe it's drinking more water before your morning coffee, standing up every commercial break, or swapping one sugary snack for a handful of nuts. It all counts. Every single bit of effort adds up, especially at this stage of life, when small changes can lead to huge improvements in energy, clarity, and mood. And while we've focused a lot on the physical side of things, let's not overlook the emotional part. Loneliness, grief, and feeling left behind. They're real, and they weigh just as heavily as any stiff joint or tight muscle. But movement, connection, and purpose are the best antidotes I've found. When you commit to these small acts of care for your body, they ripple outward. You start walking taller, smiling more, talking to neighbors again, feeling like you again. And don't worry if you've stumbled in the past. We all have. I've spent weeks where I gave up on stretching, skipped walks, let old habits creep back in. But you know what? That doesn't erase the progress. It just means it's time to reset. And every morning gives us that chance. There's a quiet magic in being able to say, today, I'll try again. And if you ever feel like you're doing it alone, come back to this space. This channel isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about community. It's about knowing there's a group of people your age facing the same hurdles, cheering each other on from across the screen. I may be talking to you now, but believe me, I hear you too. Every time someone comments, shares a story, or says, I tried that and it helped, I feel it. It reminds me that this work matters, that you matter. So if you've made it this far, if something in this message stirred something in you, don't let that feeling fade. Nurture it, honor it. Let it guide your next step, whether it's grabbing that hand gripper, calling a friend, or simply taking 3 deep breaths and saying, I'm still here and I'm still capable. And please don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with a friend, a sibling, your walking group, or anyone who could use a reminder that they're not too old to improve. Let's grow this circle. Let's build a generation of seniors who aren't just surviving, but thriving. I'm so proud of you for listening. I'm grateful you've given me your time, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us next. So go ahead, leave your thoughts below, give the video a thumbs up, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We've got so much more to explore together, from gentle routines that ease arthritis pain to smart nutrition tweaks that support brain health. I promise to keep showing up with practical, heartfelt guidance made just for you, because I believe in your strength, your spirit, and your story. Take care of yourself, my friend. I'll see you in the next one.